surveying and serving are the collecting data. Like for example, I'm collecting the data, so I might do some mistake, right? So you should not follow the statistical data in a blind way. Okay, thus one should use the common sense while working with the statistical method. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so quickly write it down till here, then we are done. Then we'll start with the second chapter.
Okay, ma'am. Just 1 minute.
Done.
Just a minute, ma'am. Actually, I was, talking to my mom. Just 1 minute, like last one, this like 1 and 2.
Okay, 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 okay.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. So now let's just quickly do the question chapter number 2. Like you don't need to write anything. I'll just explain you the thing so that you can work. Like you can at least have a good idea. And from next class onwards, we'll start making notes. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. So collection of data. Okay. So over here, of course, like how to collect the data. So first is the primary and the secondary source. Okay. So there are two methods to collect the data, which is the primary source and the secondary source. Now, ma'am, what is a primary source? Right? So you want to know about the quality of the life of the people born in town. So like it's like you will hire someone, they will collect the data and they'll give it to you. So that is something they themselves are collecting the data, right? So that is the primary source. So primary source of data implies collection of data from the source of origin. Okay, for example, for this particular area, you need the data, like how many students are there or something. So you are collecting the data from the source of origin. It offers you first-hand quantitative information relating to the statistical study. So it is offering you the first-hand data. Okay. Then secondary data,
It
secondary
is like,
source of data.
and the primary one is also called like.
Hmm, I can't hear you. Are on mute.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, I was saying that the primary data is also known as the original data.
Yes, it's the original data because you're collecting it from the source of origin. So that's why it is original. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's a first hand data as well. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, secondary source of data implies collection of data from some agency or institution which already happens to have collected the data through statistical survey. So they would have already done something and you are collecting the data from them. It does not offer you first hand information related to the statistical study. You are to rely on the information which is already existing. So they are not offering you something very new. You have to, like, for example, I collected data last year. Right. So I will be giving you the same data only. Right. So they will be giving you the data that it's up to you whether you cannot rely on this. Right. So you have to rely on something which is not fresh. right? It is something which somebody else is giving to you. Sometimes what happened, for example, I said something to you, you listened it and you shared it with your friends, so somewhere there will be a difference in the words which I use and in the words you will use.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so similarly that with the secondary data as well, you have to rely on the information which is already existing. So now this is called the source, primary source and secondary source. So if I'll ask you about the source, ma'am, there are two source, primary source and the secondary source. Okay. Now the data is also of different type. So primary data and the secondary data. Sources are different and data is different. Okay. Now if I say
Yes.
this is the, if I gave you the data and I see if there are two type of question. If I'll ask you, um, and that, Asraf, how do you collected the data? Through secondary method or the primary method? You will say, ma'am, I collected it through the secondary method. Okay, like that. But if I'll ask you what type of data it is, you will tell me, ma'am, either it is a primary data or the secondary data. So of course it's the same meaning, but you will change the wordings. Okay. So primary data, data collected by the investigator for his own purpose for the first time from beginning to end are called primary data. Clear? These are collected from the source of origin, right? There was one economist, Wessel, he said data originally collected in the process of investigation are known as primary data. So primary data are always original, right? And the investigator is the first person to collect it. Okay, so this is called primary data. And ma'am, what is the secondary data? So secondary data are those which are already in existence and which have been collected for some other purpose but are not in hand. Okay. For example, I asked you, tell me how many girls and boys are there so that we can decide the dress code. Okay. So if you will collect the data already, then you know the purpose that we are collecting the data because we need to find out the dressing code. Okay. But for example, your teacher said that Ashraf, just share me the data if you have for girls and boys. Whatever data you collected for dressing code, you will share it to your teacher. She is using to give marks. Okay. So what is happening over here is the secondary data is basically that was already in existence. So whatever you are collecting, the first person who collected it, right? His purpose was different and your purpose is different. Clear? But for the primary one, the purpose is going to be same. The person who is collecting the data and for the reason which is being collected. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, ma'am, what is the difference between the primary data and the secondary data? So, first of all, difference in originality. Primary data is original because you are collecting it, the investigator himself is collecting it, right? And secondary data is already in existence and therefore it is not original. Then,
Ma'am,
objective.
just 1 minute, ma'am. Just 1 minute. I need to like,
Okay.
message someone. Just 1 minute. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I guess you're on mute.
Okay, yes. So, difference in the originality, I think this is clear, right?
Mhm.
Primary data is original as well. Like on the other hand, secondary data is not original. Now, objective. So, primary data are always related to the specific objective of the investigator, right? So, I'm the investigator. My objective is very clear that why I'm collecting the data. Okay. But on the other hand, secondary data have already been collected for some other purpose. Therefore, so you need to shift it. You need to change it according to your objective. You need to make minor changes in the secondary data. Clear?
Mhm.
Okay. Now difference in cost of collection. Okay. So primary data are costlier in terms of time, money, and efforts involved in the day. So cost means not only money, it means time, efforts. If you are the first one who is collecting the data, of course, you need require more time, you require more efforts, everything. Right. But for the secondary data, it's like you went to somewhere and you took the data. So as compared to secondary data, primary data is costlier in terms of time, money, as well as in efforts. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, how the basic data is collected, some methods. So first of all, there are different methods to collect the data. Okay. So first is direct personal investigation. What you can do? Directly you can go and do the investigation. Indirect oral investigation, information from local source or correspond, information through questionnaire and schedule. Here it includes two things. Either you can mail it or enumerator method. So let's just read it one by one. So direct personal investigation. So direct personal investigation is a method by which data are personally collected by the investigator from the informant. For example, I want to know how many family members are there in your family, what they are doing, what is their occupation and everything. I came to you and I asked you, Vivek, how many members are there in your family, what is their status, what they are doing, like currently they are working or they are student or something. So over here that is called direct personal. Personally I came to you and I discussed all this, right? But on the other hand, indirect oral investigation is the method by which information is obtained not from the person regarding whom the information is needed. It is collected orally from other person who are expected to post the necessary information. These other person are known as witness. So for example, I ask your friend, how many members are there in Vivek's family or any other like person family. So I'm not asking that person personally. Right. So that is called indirect oral investigation. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, information from local sources. I think this is very, very clear, right? Under this message, the investigator appoints local person or correspond at different places. They collect information in their own way and furnish the same to the investigator. I hired few people. They will collect the data on my behalf and then they'll share it to me. Right. So that is called information from the local sources or the correspond. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Then information through questionnaire and schedule. So over here I told you that there are two methods. One is the mailing method and another was the enumerated method. Mailing method. Under this method, questionnaire are mailed to the informant. A letter is attached with the questionnaire giving the purpose. So for example, I made a questionnaire. How many family members are there? Right? What is the age group of all the family members in between? Are all the family members employed or like are all the family members student like this? Okay, so I just mailed you this and plus I just attached one sheet in which I wrote the like I wrote the reason why I'm collecting all this thing, right? So it is also assured that the information will be kept secret. The information notes the answer against the questionnaire and returns the complete questionnaire to the investigator. So over here, like I'll get the questionnaire, I'll fill it up and then I'll return it to you. Then you can fill whatever you can do the investigation whatever you want. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, enumerated method. So, under this method, a questionnaire is prepared according to the purpose of the inquiry. The enumerator himself approached the informant with the questionnaire. The questionnaire which are filled by the enumerator themselves by putting questionnaire are called schedule. Right. So, over here, what is happening? I have some people. They will come to you and they'll bring the questionnaire with along with them. They'll ask you the question and you will tell the answer and they'll fill it. Clear? So that is called enumerator method. Clear? But for example, other thing what I can do, I can mail you the question and you will read it or and then you will answer it. Clear? Yes. Is it
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
now? So questionnaire information is recorded by the informant themselves. In the schedule, on the other hand, the information as supplied by the informant is recorded by the enumerator. So just remember the difference between the schedule and the questionnaire. So in a questionnaire, like I will be the one who will collect the data, right? But in the schedule, I will send somebody who will collect the data from you. Clear? Clear, Ashraf? I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this you will read on your own. Okay. Qualities of a good questionnaire. Okay. And let me know if any point is not clear.
Wait, ma'am. Can you repeat about the questionnaire? What exactly it is?
Yes, questionnaire is basically, it's a basically questionnaire is a format in which the entire information is recorded by the informant. Look, for example, I am the informant. I'll come to you. I'll ask you, Ashraf, how many people are living in your family. I'll write down the questions, right? Uh, this. Okay. So if the questionnaire is being filled by the informant, you are filling the questionnaire, then it is questionnaire. But if I hired somebody and I am filling it, right? So that is called schedule. Clear?
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Okay, now read this. First, the difference between the questionnaire and the schedule. So both shows a set of questions. So of course, questionnaire is also a set of question. Schedule is also a set of question. But in case of questionnaire, the answer are to be recorded written by respondent themselves, right? If you are the one responding, you will fill it on. While the case of schedule, answers are to be written recorded by the enumerator, especially hired by the like I hired few people. They brought the questionnaire to you, and then they are filling it. That's called schedule. But if you will fill it on your own, then that is called questionnaire. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So we will quickly give the reading to this. Qualities of a good questionnaire. Okay, then we will discuss.
Limited number of questions. Ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Actually, my mom is calling me. Just I'm coming in 1 minute. Okay.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am. I'm back.
okay, now read it.
Following are some of the desired qualities of a good questionnaire. Limited number of questions. The number of questions in a questionnaire should be as limited as possible. Questions should be only relating to the purpose of inquiry. It means that the number of questionnaires in a the number of questionnaires in sorry, the number of questions in questionnaire should be as limited as possible, and the questions asked in the questionnaire, it should be like only relevant to the purpose of inquiry and not like some unrelevant stuff.
Correct.
And then simplicity. Language of the questions should be simple, lucid, and clear. Questions should be short, not long or complex. Mathematical questions must be avoided. It means that like the questions asked and the answers of those questions should be like as simple as possible, and the person reading it should find it convenient to understand, and like it should be like the language you're using in the answers and questions should be simple and lucid and clear to understand by the reader. And the mathematical questions should be try to be avoided.
Good.
Proper order of the questions. Questions must be placed in a proper order. Okay, this is a key definition, though. It's like it must be in a proper order.
Hmm.
No undesirable questions. Undesirable questions or personal questions must be avoided. The questions should not offend the informants. Okay, so basically, as I said before, for the limited number of questions, like the undesirable questions or unrelevant questions, it is like respective to the purpose of inquiry should be avoided, and personal questions also must be avoided. And questions should the questions like the personal questions, for example, like they should not offend the informants which are giving the information. It should not offend them. Non-controversial questions should be such as can be answered impartially. No controversial questions should be asked. Controversial questions should be such as like the investigators should ask questions like that, which can be answered without any bias or like impartiality. And the investigators should try avoiding asking controversial questions. And then calculations.
Hmm.
Questions involving calculations by the respondents must be avoided. Investigator himself should do the calculation job. So here, like, they're saying that questions which involve the respondents to calculate on the basis of some inquiry or something, like that type of questions should be avoided, because it is the job of investigator himself to do the calculation job. Pre-testing pilot survey. Some questions be asked from the informants on trial basis. If their answers involve some difficulty, these can be reframed accordingly. Such testing is technically called pilot survey. So, our pilot survey is basically that the investigator can ask some questions on the basis of on the trial basis to the informants, and if they in and if the answers of the informants involve some difficulty and hard to frame them, so they can be reframed, the questions and the answers can be reframed accordingly. Such type of testing is called a pilot survey. Instructions. A questionnaire must show clear instructions for filling in the form. Like a questionnaire should have related instructions or guides about how to fill the questionnaire. And then cross verification. Such questions may be asked which help cross verification. I don't know exactly how to define this. And the
Hmm.
last one, a request for return. A request should be made to the respondents to return the questionnaire completed in all respects. The informant must be assured that the information conveyed by him will be treated as confidential. Okay, so here says that after filling in the form, the investigator should request to the informants that they return the questionnaire completed in all respects, and the the informants must be assured that the information which they give, which is conveyed by them, should be treated as confidential and not shared to anyone.
Hmm. Correct.
So
Okay, so
yeah,
this is clear.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now these are the types of questions basically. Simple alternative question there. Multiple choice question should be there. Specific information question should be there. Like in which class do you read? Or an open question like how can the price of India be controlled? So where you can put a suggestion. Clear? This is an example of a
Okay.
question. Okay. Then collection of secondary data. Primary data we already discussed. These are the method through which you can collect the data, the questionnaire, mailing, and all that, right? But how to collect the secondary data?
There are
So,
two
ma'am,
sources.
hmm? Okay, so published source and unpublished. So, first of all, you will read the published sources. Okay, government one, semi-government publication, reports of committee and commission, publication of trade association, publications of research institution, journal and papers, publication of research scholar like this. Then unpublished, there are some unpublished data as well. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. English Bushman. Hello, ma'am, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, so like what are we doing exactly?
Okay, no, no, I just asked you to give the reading.
Oh, okay, I didn't heard actually. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, just give the reading.
Yeah, collection of secondary data. There are like two main sources of secondary data, published sources and unpublished sources. So published sources, some of the published sources of secondary data are government publications. Ministries of the central and state governments in India publish a variety of statistics as their routine activity. As these are published by the government, data are fairly reliable. Some of the notable government publications of statistics are Statistical Abstract of India, Annual Survey of Industries, Agricultural, and it's on next page, probably. Yeah. Agricultural Statistics of India, Report on Currency and Banking, Labor Gazette, Reserve Bank of India, Bulletin, etc. Semi-government publications. Semi-government bodies such as municipalities and metropolitan councils publish data relating to education, health, births, and deaths. These data are also fairly reliable and useful. Reports of committees and commissions. Committees and commissions appointed by the government also furnish a lot of statistical information in their reports. Finance Commission, Monopolies Commission, Planning Commission are some of the notable commissions in India which supply detailed statistical information in their reports. Publications of trade associations. Some of the big trade associations, through their statistical and research divisions, collect and publish data on various aspects of trading activity. For example, Sugar Mills Association publishes information regarding sugar mills in India. Publications of research institutions. Various universities and research institutions publish information as findings of their research activities. In India, for example, Indian Statistical Institute, a National Council of Applied Economic, and next page. Yeah, National Council of Applied Economic Research publish a variety of statistical data as a regular feature. Journals and papers. Many newspapers, such as the Economic Times, as well as magazines such as Commerce, Facts for You, also supply a large variety of statistical information. Publications of research scholars. Individual research scholars also sometimes publish their research work containing some useful statistical information. International publications. International organizations such as UNO, IMF, World Bank, ILO, and foreign governments, etc., also publish a lot of statistical information. These are used as secondary data. Boom. Done.
Now, what we are going to do is the next one. These are the like the published one. You don't need to remember everything, but at least you should remember two or three ones. So in case if I ask you, give me some example of published. So you should have an idea that from semi-government publication we can get, from government publications also we can get like this. Okay. Then there are some sources called unpublished sources. So quickly read it.
There are some unpublished secondary data as well. These data are collected by the government organizations and others, generally for their self-use or office record. These data are not published. These unpublished numerical information may, however, be used as secondary data.
Hmm. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now there are some precautions that you need to take care while doing this secondary data. Okay. First of all,
We,
ability of the collecting data. Whenever you are collecting the data, just check it whether it is like what is the availability, right? It like whatever questions you have, like can it solve your queries? Then objective and scope. What is the objective of collecting the data? Okay. For example, you want to know how many girls and boys are there in your class, but you are collecting the data. How many students are intelligent? So it's of no use, right? So objective and scope somewhere should match with the secondary data. Then which method you are using. If you have a lot of time, then you can use the method which have like, it is time consuming and all that. Then time and condition of collection, then definition of unit, and then the accuracy. Okay. Then this is very, very important one. Two important sources of secondary data. Census of India and report of publications. So just read it up. Census of India is this, and this. Sometimes they give you the question. Write the note on this NSSO. Okay, so you should know this.
Yes, sir. Mm. Hello?
Okay, I don't know, Vivek. I don't know why I can't hear you.
No, actually, I wasn't saying something.
Okay, okay. You said hello, so I just thought that you were saying something earlier as well.
No, 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 no. No, I said hello because your voice wasn't coming, so I thought you're not speaking or something.
Okay, okay, okay. No, no, no. I was just giving you the time to read it up quickly.
Oh, okay. So sorry.
Okay, I think you missed in between. Maybe I'm not audible.
Uh,
Okay. So basically, you need to just give the reading for the Census of India. So Census of India is nothing. It's the publications of government. So whatever government reports are there, they basically publish. So it is published by who? Registrar General or the Census Commission of India, right?
mm,
So now give the reading. What does it
yeah,
say and what are the
uh,
parameters for it?
it is a very comprehensive source of secondary data. Changes in India broadly, it includes statistical information on the following parameters: size, growth rate, and distribution of population in India, population projection, density of population, sex composition of population, state of literacy. Okay. Information on these parameters relates to country as a whole, as well as different states and union territories of the country. As the name suggests, Census of India is a comprehensive inquiry on population size and the related parameters of change covering each and every household of the country. Alif is Yama.
Evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Elif. Just wait. You joined 4 minutes earlier. So just wait. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
One, two, three. There are three Learnivio hosts.
Sorry.
Nothing, ma'am, nothing. I was like, there are three Learnivio hosts in
Yeah,
the meet.
they like one is for like recording and one is for admitting the students and one is the one who is keeping a track.
Oh my God. सही है मैम सही है Okay, ma'am. Thank you. I guess this is end right today
Yeah.
for today.
Hmm. So you have an exam tomorrow.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So best of luck, and from the next class onwards, we'll make the notes from here itself. Okay, once you are done